Would you get me a glass of water, please? Of course, I can get you water, but would you be a bit more polite with your words? I'm sure that you can be. Well, I was polite. I have used words like would you, please. What more do you want? The sentence structure is okay, but there is something wrong with the intention. Something. Sometimes the words that come out of a person's mouth may not match the expressions. Today's video is going to decode all these things. Have you heard of educated rudeness? This can be applied to anybody, anytime, not only when you speak in English. It's more about the sentences being right. The sentence structures are perfect, polite, but the intentions are rude. Language is a double-edged sword, and sometimes the expressions do not match the intentions. We are going to decode these 3 points. The first one is when it comes to expressions, micro-expressions, and eye contact. The second point is when the pace of speech doesn't match the intention. And the third one is pitch and stress. What is the meaning of this? And how do these play a significant role? And the 3 points that I'm about to give you definitely connected to intentions when people take you for granted, when people do not pay attention to what you're doing, when they don't consider your space, when they don't respect you as a person, when they just want to probe, interfere with the work, with the space, not paying respect to the boundary. All these things can be clubbed together. The first one is pitch and stress. Let's take the same example that was shown in the beginning of the video. Would you get me a glass of water? I'm not referring to situations where people really are in need of water or where there is a state of emergency. But it's more about intentions when a person wants to dominate or at least give that sign. So we're going to divide every point into cue and vibe. The cue is that the stress is there. The pitch can also be slightly raised. Would you please get me some water? There is urgency, and you have to reconsider these kind of situations when the pitch is high, when there is more stress, where the person pushes you to urgency, when the urgency is not there. Sometimes the situation may not be urgent, sometimes a person may not even need water, but they will push you. They may not respect the work that you're doing or even push you to get the water, which is somewhere there. It's okay to get water. I'm not saying you shouldn't be helping. And it's not about state of emergency, because when things are urgent, it's different. It's all about the stress and the pitch. Would you please get me some water? Maybe the expressions will not be there. So you may ask me, ma'am, we use a digital mode of communication. So what about text and chatting? There also you can cross-check when you look at the words. You may have to cross-check there, and you may have to take more time to reconsider and come to a conclusion. But when a person is physically present in front of you, it's very easy to decipher or at least analyze. We are not judging anybody. We are not trying to read the face and mind of people, because that's not going to help. It's all about the intentions. It's for you to be in the safe space, or at least you to be prepared. So when the person is physically present, you can check the pitch, the stress that's given, and that will help you understand the intention. But when it's a text message, you have to cross-check. You may have to ask questions, counter-check. For example, if the person says, would you please send the file? Through text message, it can be, would you please send the message? Would you please send the file? So if you want to check whether the person is rude or not, you can ask again. Or maybe I sent this morning, didn't you check? Or haven't you received it yet? But if there is this tone and intention of being rude, of being dominating, you can easily understand. You will be able to decode even through the words. Sometimes people can really be indifferent, just giving without a thank you. That is when people want to really show that they are disinterested and they just want you to leave the space. That can also happen in person. So the first one is pitch and stress. We cannot decode pitch and stress in messages until and unless it's a voice message. And that too with an intention of being rude, being dominating, like, I didn't get it. I don't know. How am I supposed to know? So the tone cannot be decoded. Maybe you may end up misunderstanding or misinterpreting what they really wanted to say. That is why I mentioned you have to cross check. But in person, the stress and pitch can really help you understand the intentions. Number two, it's about the eye contact, micro expressions. So, the first example where the person said, would you please get me a glass of water, or would you please get me water? So, the expression can show you whether they have wrong intentions, whether it is kind of dominating, domineering, or if the person really want to create that urgency. Remember, cue and vibe. The cue is that the person is showing arrogance. Though the sentence structure has got the perfect structure, like would you please, you have please and would, the model is also there, but still there is something wrong. You'll be able to sense this even when people speak in the native language. So the person cannot argue saying I was being polite, I've used all the models and the perfect sentence structure, but the expression where there is arrogance or where there is rudeness, a tinge of expression saying that they're not bothered or they just want you to fulfill that request immediately. There can be expressions that will deliberately, evidently show you that the person did not have polite intentions. Maybe the voice, the tone, even the sentence structure can be good, but the intentions will not be polite. So when it comes to text messages also, you cannot look at the expression. The micro expressions will not be there. You have to decode everything. You have to analyze exactly from the words, the pace of the text, and that can be done by cross-checking. I have understood the intentions of many people through emails, because sometimes people don't introduce and they can be very rude. And some people introduce very well, but still they can be rude. So from the sentences, when you cross-check, when you ask them counter questions, before that you will not be able to understand anything. I'm not referring to people who can't speak English, because some beginners are extremely polite. They may not be able to frame a single sentence in English, but you will understand from the way they put forth the words. I mean, it shows. And today people use ChatGPT, but still intentions can be decoded when you send them emails or when you at least ask them via text. The last one is about the pace. So some people can hurry you, do it immediately, though they may not put that in words. It is very clear. Would you get me a glass of water? It can be low, but still it can be, would you get me a glass of water? When it's urgent, when the person is not feeling well, or when there is something wrong, you can cross-check. Are you not feeling well? Is everything okay? So you have to confirm, you have to cross-check. Recently also I did a content where I mentioned about people looking through you. When people consider you to be invisible, and some people can treat you in that way for a longer time because of their insecurity or dominance. So this particular idea comes under that, where people do it intentionally, not out of urgency, not out of emergency. And when it comes to text messages, it can be that they are rushing you through. The first point, remember, you can club this with the first point. So it's more about expressions, the pitch, the stress, the way they hurry you without paying respect or without even considering what you're doing. When you give the signal that you're busy or perhaps you have some other priority, people can just push you. And that is evidently seen through non-verbal communication and verbal communication. It's a mix of both. It's not just a single thing. So here we are not trying to read the face. It's not enough that we just speak about language, and I always wanted to address this concern. It's a concern because people think we are judging or we are reading the face. That's totally different. Even before understanding a situation, before comprehending and analyzing a situation, if you come into a conclusion, that is called being judgmental. That is called maybe face reading without any ground, without any base for why you are coming into a conclusion. But this is specifically related to, and it's a concern expressed by many people during one-to-one training sessions, where the intentions do not match the sentence. You may have the perfect sentence structure, and people are really educated to put models like would, could, shall, all these kind of words, but still the intentions may not match. That is when we have to be careful, not in a situation, in a scenario where there is urgency, where there is emergency. Because when something is urgent, when a person is not well, or when you have some kind of emergency, people can lose their temper, people can just hurry you. They may just ask you to send the documents quickly or even demand certain things. They may appear to be demanding, but that's not the truth. It's just because of urgency. So you have to understand the situation, non-verbal communication and verbal communication. You have to pay attention to all of these. And I hope this content helps you, because this is a problem faced by many people, and sometimes beginners may not know how to respond to this situation. What you can do is just stay away from such people, and you can just say, I'll get back to you. I mean, I think you're not okay, or maybe you're not feeling well. Maybe this is not the right time to speak to you. I'll get back to you later. It's okay. If you're at workplace, you can say that. But suppose it's a friendly conversation, you can just say, dude, I think you're not okay. I mean, something is stressing you out. It's okay. I can get back to you later. But if the person is too rude, I mean, you can just walk away from there. You can say, I think you have to watch your words. You can be a bit more polite. It's not that you are slashing the person, but you can just let them know that the cue, the vibe is something different. This is how you can solve the problem, where you don't cringe, where you don't shrink, where you deal the situation in a matured way without getting offended, without taking or carrying that burden of getting offended, getting embarrassed. Sometimes you walk away, you go to your comfortable space, and you keep pondering, you keep contemplating why the person was like that. Why did she or he speak like that? So you have to comprehend the situation and let them know that they were not right with their speech, their tone, or the way they dealt with you. And still, if they feel it's okay, it is my business, or this is how I deal with everybody, it's their problem, not your problem. It's just because of their insecurity or their approach towards life and the way they disrespect themselves. You know, when people are frustrated, when they don't know how to tackle the problems, they can really be rude with others. Another side to this same coin is they may ventilate their feelings in the comfort space, but you should know with whom you're talking. But you should know who is talking to you. If it's not a relative, if it's not a comfortable friend, if it is not somebody to whom you have really given the space, I don't think you have to bear these kind of attitude and approach. If you really don't care, or if you don't know the person also, you have to politely let them know that this was not the way to speak. So that is a solution, instead of carrying it as a burden and even slicing the relationship without knowing what really happens. Or the participants involved in that particular situation to analyze and maybe talk over it later. But if talking doesn't help in some situations, in some relationship, I mean, talking will not help. They just want you out of there. They just want you to exit. So decently exit, but politely convey that it was not right. But I hope you get the gist of the entire video, and happy learning.